Today, we are going to be looking at cellular respiration. What does it mean and what does it involve? When you talk about cellular respiration, it means that what you are going to, or the process which is going to take place is going to take place in the cell. And the respiration, it means that that process either is going to require oxygen in being present or oxygen being absent. So basically, this is the process by which energy is produced in a cell or in our bodies. And then this process, since it is called cellular, it means that it is occurring inside the cell. However, not all the parts of the cell that you are going to find this respiration. It has a specific part where it's supposed to take place. Welcome to cellular respiration. Let's go into detail. When we talk about cellular respiration, is a process whereby glucose is broken down gradually in presence of oxygen, and then it can be or in absence of oxygen, but the two will produce what we call energy. So the major purpose of this respiration is to produce energy. This process is basically a chemical process. It means that involves chemicals so that this process can take place. Which chemicals are in there? We have what called the raw materials, the things which are supposed to be present in, and also you have what we call the enzymes. So the enzymes are also supposed to be present so that this process can take place. So that's what we call the cellular respiration. We have two types of cellular respiration. The first type is called aerobic respiration. The second one is called anaerobic respiration. The major difference between the two is that aerobic respiration occurs inside the cell, but it must have what we call oxygen. Oxygen must be present. So the key point here, it must be presence of oxygen. So aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen. And then anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence. In absence of what? In absence of oxygen. So these two types of respiration, why one is occurring in presence of oxygen and why one is occurring in absence of oxygen. The two processes, yes, can occur in one cell, but they have advantages and disadvantages. Yes, there is a time when oxygen is abundant. Therefore, we will undergo what you call aerobic respiration. And there is a time when oxygen is not there, but you require energy. Yes. So what does it mean? Does it mean that you have to, the processes are supposed to stop? No. Now the cell will change from aerobic respiration and then it undergoes anaerobic respiration. Where is this condition happening? During your daily activities, you undergo what you call aerobic respiration. Why? Because you are not using oxygen excessively. You don't use this oxygen too much. Therefore, you produce maximum energy when you are under aerobic respiration. That's why everything is occurring normally. But imagine an athlete, yes, an athlete who is running and running for a long distance. Time is gonna come when this person has no enough oxygen. Therefore, it means that now the cell, but this person requires energy because he's still running the process, or the race is not yet complete. Therefore, what happens? The cell has to change from aerobic respiration to anaerobic respiration. However much it produces less energy, but that energy can help to maintain the process that person is doing and also the normal functioning of the what? Of the body. Hence, anaerobic respiration will occur. That's why this person opens the mouth so that can take in more oxygen. But still, that oxygen is not enough to produce enough energy which is needed. Hence, anaerobic respiration will kick in. So what are some of the importance of this energy? Why do we need energy in our bodies? So energy is needed Number one is used by the organisms for various ways. Some of the ways include, yes, growth. Yes, growth requires energy. Why does it require energy? Because there are so many processes there which are active, and any process which is active, it means that it requires energy. Where is this energy coming from? It comes from respiration. Then number two, cell division. It can be either meiosis or mitosis. These divisions are active processes. Therefore, energy is needed for those divisions to take place. Actually, you cannot even grow if there is no cell division. The cell must divide. After that, you have cell elongation. After that, then growth can take place. If the cell divides and then there is no elongation, then it means that it's going to become a cancerous cell, or you're going to suffer from what you call cancer, because they're just dividing and there is no increment in the size of these cells. Movement. Sometimes when you are weak, say that I don't have energy, you can't walk for a long distance. Why? Because you are hungry. It means that you don't have energy. Don't forget that when you eat, you get the energy. Yes, when you eat, you get the what? You get the energy. So this energy is also used for movement. When you talk about movement, we classify movement, then the movement of the parts, and also locomotion. So when you talk about movement, we are categorizing it, or we are putting it into one umbrella, meaning that locomotion and movement of the parts is the same thing, so we take it as a movement. Then we have what called transport of substances. Remember, we have substances moving across the membrane, across the neurons, reabsorption in the nephron. There is a lot of things which are supposed to be transported, move across somewhere. So these processes, they're active. They require energy for them to be able to move from one place to another. Oh, sometimes those substances which are carrying them, they require to contract and relax, and this contraction require energy. Hence, energy is needed for transport. And lastly, active transport. Active transport, you know it, that you are moving things from region of high concentration, from region of low concentration to region of high concentration against a concentration gradient, meaning that you are coming from downhill going uphill. Automatically you will require what we call energy. So where does respiration takes place? Respiration takes place inside a structure called a mitochondrion. So last time we saw the structure of a chloroplast. What about now the structure of the mitochondrion? Mitochondrion is also an organelle. If you look at it, it has a sausage shape. Yes. I don't know how you draw your sausage. Okay, let me just draw it like that. Yes, it has an outer membrane. The outer membrane is smooth, but it has the inner membrane. The inner membrane is infolded. Yes, the inner membrane is infolded. Yes, the inner membrane is infolded. You see it that the inner membrane is infolded. Why is it infolded? It's infolded to increase the surface area for this reaction to take place. Yes, that's why when you look at it, it has this infolded surfaces, so that there is an increase in surface area. Imagine that this surface was like this. To run from here up to here is less than from running from here up to here. However much, when you look at it, you see that this one is shorter, this one is longer. But you have to run like this, you have to run like this. When you stretch it, it's going to be longer than that. Hence, when it is infolded, you have different what? Different distance. So it increases surface area. Yes. So this mitochondria, yes, it has what we call the DNA. It has the DNA which controls its activities. Therefore, we call mitochondria, chloroplast, these organelles which have their own DNA, semi-autonomous. They are self-reliant, halfway reliant. They don't depend on the cell. However, yes, there are some things which they have to depend on the cell. They're not the general cell, but it is halfway semi-autonomous. It is semi-autonomous, halfway autonomous, meaning that semi means half. Yes, semi-autonomous. Then it has a fluid. It has a fluid. This fluid, we call it matrix. Remember that for the chloroplast, we say the fluid inside the chloroplast, we call it a stroma. We can give you the question to give the difference between the chloroplast and the mitochondrion. Yes, don't forget that chloroplast is used for photosynthesis, while mitochondrion is used for respiration. Yes, so it has that. It does not only stop there, because it is supposed to do its own protein, manufacture its own proteins. Therefore, it has some bit of ribosomes. Yes, it has what you call ribosomes in there. Yes, that's why you see them here. These ones, yes, we call them ribosomes. Yes. Then this membrane, we say that it has the outer membrane, which is smooth. It has the inner membrane, which is infolded. But in between these two membranes, there is a space. That space is called the intermembrane space. Intermembrane space. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So when you are drawing, don't shade. Draw it in a simple way like this, and then start to label. These extensions are called crista. Yes, crista. So those extensions, this is the one I'm talking about. We call them these infolded things. We call them crista. So that is the simple structure of a mitochondrion. Why do you need the structure of the mitochondrion? Is because we have to know when you talk about the Krebs cycle, when you talk about oxidative phosphorylation, when you talk about glycolysis, the processes which are involved in respiration, we have to know where exactly these processes are taking place from. So basically, that is what you are supposed to understand better. Let's look at the process of cellular respiration. We said that the process of cellular respiration involves two processes. We have aerobic respiration and we have anaerobic respiration. And I say that aerobic respiration involves, or it requires what you call energy. So it requires what you call oxygen. For energy to be produced maximally, you require enough oxygen so that this process becomes complete. It's like when you are burning carbon dioxide, when you are burning carbon in presence of oxygen, you complete the process and then you're going to produce carbon dioxide. But if you burn carbon in the absence of oxygen, it's going to be halfway. Therefore, you're going to produce carbon monoxide. Hence, the same story here. If respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen, you're going to have maximum energy. Hence, you're going to produce a lot of, you're going to produce maximum, the process is going to be completed and you're going to produce maximum energy. And then if you don't have enough energy, you have limited energy. If you don't have enough oxygen, it means that limited energy is going to be produced. Why? Because the process is not going to be complete. It's going to be halfway. Hence, anaerobic respiration reduces or produces less energy, while aerobic respiration produces a lot of energy. So aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen, as I've explained. The first part of aerobic respiration occurs in what we call the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm, which means that the fluid of the cell, cytoplasm, the fluid of the what? Of the cell. The other phases of respiration, they occur in the mitochondria, which we call the engine of the car, meaning that that's where the power horse. Sometimes students or teachers, they classify a mitochondrion as the power horse of the cell. Why? That's where power is being produced from. Yes. So you're saying that the requirement for this process is oxygen and glucose, and the byproduct is carbon dioxide as well as water. So, and energy is the major product of this process. Don't forget that respiration is the reverse of photosynthesis. And the photosynthesis is the reverse of respiration. So the products of photosynthesis are the raw material for respiration, and the product of respiration are the raw material for photosynthesis. Don't forget that in photosynthesis, you produce oxygen and glucose. So if you produce oxygen and glucose, you have to produce you produce oxygen and glucose, then you have to use carbon dioxide, and you have to use carbon dioxide and water for that process to take place. But now here you have to use oxygen, the product of glucose, of the product of photosynthesis. Use glucose and oxygen, yes, glucose and oxygen, and then now you produce carbon dioxide and water, yes, in present, and then you produce also what you call ATP. So you guys, listen carefully. Listen carefully. These two, in actual sense, these two processes might be taking place at the same time. Photosynthesis is taking place and also respiration is taking place. Here I'm talking about in plants, because in animals we don't have photosynthesis. So because if photosynthesis does not exist, it means that we don't have life. Yes, it means that we don't have life. So it means that glucose plus oxygen, you're going to produce carbon dioxide plus water plus ATP. The other side, when you use glucose, meaning that for the process, the reaction for photosynthesis is going to be the reverse. Carbon dioxide plus water. Actually, also ATP, we use it when during the in the dark phase. Yes, basically it's all of them. You produce glucose plus oxygen. However much oxygen is a byproduct, however much here also here is carbon dioxide is a byproduct as it goes to respiration. Yes, so the stages of respiration, of aerobic respiration, the process of aerobic respiration include glycolysis, Krebs cycle, oxidative phosphorylation. Glycolysis, where does it take place? It takes place in the cytoplasm. Krebs cycle, where does it take place? It takes place in the mitochondrion. We have to see exactly where in the mitochondrion does it take place. And then oxidative phosphorylation takes place in the mitochondrion still. That's why I say that the first stage, glycolysis, occurs in the cytoplasm, while the other stages occur in the mitochondrion. So Krebs cycle and oxidative phosphorylation, they occur in the mitochondrion. So I'm going to stop here, and then the next class is going to be talking about these processes, glycolysis. I'm going to explain them in detail. Krebs cycle, I explain it in detail so that you understand. I know that this is a challenge to many students, but by the time I finish this, you'll be able to understand it better and you don't have any difficulty. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to others for our daily new videos. Yes. Thank you very much. See you again in the next class. God bless you.